Good morning, beautiful souls. So today we're talking about illusion. Is it life an illusion? According to my life journey and based on the things that I experienced over the years, I would say that probably is a well built up and well created illusion. But as if you are, for whatever reason, been conditioned or programmed, if we want to believe about the simulation theory, if you program the software to respond to in a certain way, that's what the program is seeing as a reality. So if we live in an illusion and we are being made to believe about this illusion, so obviously all the feelings and everything that we feel about this sort of illusion, or what we think it is a reality, it's obviously we've been made by design to feel to be real. Or now, I don't have answers. I only have theories, and those theories comes based on personal life experiences. So obviously everything is possible. So this is something that at least I can claim. I'm sure that everything is possible. There is nothing that could not happen in this realm of endless possibility. So I told this story many times. Lately I've been telling the story to people, and that's like where all this try to figure out what this existence is started. That is where, those thoughts about what I've been seeing as real until that moment, until is actually might have not been real. And there's been so many things. The stories I've been telling to few people lately, it was the one that obviously could not make and people questioning. I think it's very hard that people. I'm sure there are people that even after that they might keep going with their life and forgetting about it. I think most of us would not. That's where this like an episode, few episodes, but involved the same person happened before I moved to Australia, and this is what was about this guy from high school that after high school I didn't meet anymore, but I found our lives to somehow connect to each other before moving to Australia, where I met him in Madrid. It was New Year Eve, midnight, fireworks. I was in the main square in Madrid, Plaza Grande, and someone calls my name, and the turnaround was this guy that is called Alessandro, like me. That's all right, coincidence, blah blah blah. you can bump on someone, can happen. What becomes a bit weirder is when you meet the same person 1 year later, New Year Eve period, but this time just arrived to Amsterdam, Netherlands, and walking on the high street, I met him again. So now that's become a bit weirder, isn't it? But it's getting even weirder when 1 year later, not seeing him for a year, I was in Lisbon. I thought to meet him there, and I didn't. It gets weird when in summer I met him in town, and when he see me running toward me, he tells me that he was in Australia, he was working in a farm, and amongst all the farms he could work, he ended up working in the farm that was run by my father's cousin. So this is an uncle that was very close to my father, and that I didn't even know the existence, and that's was the main reason for me to then go to Bamberg, where he had the farm, and that's where then I met someone very important. So that was the first big event that started to make me questioning a bit. But being young and not having yet all the life experiences and mystical experiences and so on, kind of like put on the side and keep going on, with my life. Especially when I went to Australia, all new, all exciting, and I, kind of like remove that episode from my life. But that's where the second other episode that since that things started to change and make me questioning it. I am inside an illusion. I mean, there was a period in my younger existence when I was a teenager where I thought to be actually in a simulation, like in the video game The Sims. So I would say that there was something was already going on with my journey, in my journey. Or if you want to believe that we create our own reality, something that I do kind of believe, maybe that belief led to create a reality where those beliefs being validated. We could go on and on and on because the theory and possibility are endless. So now, this other episode, that's another story I've been telling people lately. Australia, guy involved, spoke many times about him, Bradley, half Aboriginal, half Maori, ending up in my hostel in Sydney, King's Cross area, comes inside with a massive electric piano, telling everybody, I missed my flight and need to stay here for a few days, and then I will be able to fly back to New Zealand. That a few days becomes few months, and very friendly chap, like when sober, very aggressive and violent when drunk, except to me, because somehow found out later on that he actually liked me. So that's explain why he never done anything, even when he was drunk and violent to me. But what happened is that going back to the hostel after work at night, saw the police, and turns out that Bradley, drunk, took a knife, got a French guy against the wall, shouting to him to stab him over, like, I think it was a stolen beer or something. So I thought it would be the end. But in the morning, I was taking a shit, The toilet was at the ground floor with a window facing a side street, and the window was open because it was summer, and I see the head popping up the window. It was Bradley, shouting that he would have his revenge, and that I didn't have to be worried because he knew I was the only good one. So I remember to take my pants without even wipe my ass and going in the room telling everybody that Bradley was around. So I thought it was over, but 1.5 years later, after Sydney, traveling, Bundaberg, flying to Perth, 3 hours flight, Perth, Bundaberg to Perth, Sydney to Perth is 3 hour flight. I was in a hostel, waiting to move into a flat, and my girlfriend at the time was back to Japan, and someone comes inside the hostel, and I hear a voice, recognize the voice, and it was Bradley. All right, so now the memory of Alessandro and the idea about simulation, reality not being real started to popping in my head. It became even more when 2 weeks later I found Bradley to be the new cook in my cafe. So okay, now even the most rational person won't deny that something was going on. So this all in like 3 years, 4 years. You met twice in 2 different countries. Old high school mate that you barely saw in town. You meet him again, telling you that you work for an uncle that somehow was your father's best friend. And you go to work for this uncle, and this uncle placed you inside the hostel, and you ended up meeting the most important person of your life. You go to a country, Australia, you meet a guy inside a hostel. The same guy shows up in your basically toilet in the morning. I didn't mention it earlier, but I met him again, like he didn't see me, but I saw him a few weeks later at the Gay Pride in Sydney. He was drinking in a gay bar with some other people, I guess friends. I spent 1 year in Bundaberg, going to Perth, and then a few months later, after 1 year and a few months, at a city that is 3 hours flight from Sydney. So in all the places that this guy could have been, he ended up exactly in the hostel where I was at the exact time, at the time. And 2 weeks later, you find this guy working in your same cafe. And when you ask him, obviously stressed out how it was possible, and plus you knew from the first meeting that he was an artist, So if you remember, he came inside the hostel with an electric piano. He tells you, oh, well, when I don't have gigs, I cook to make some extra cash. But in such a, like with such a normality, like our meeting was nothing special. Like, there's something that, I remember even more clearly. He spoke to me like it was the most normal thing to meet someone in 2 different cities and to end it up in the same workplace. So there was obviously what basically could not make me put on the side anymore. I mean, obviously there have been, it was a bit on the side again, but it was not like, there was no way I could forget, and obviously that what basically was the most important event that it kept me in the loop, like, like thinking and obviously noticing then synchronicities and even more deeply. So stuff like that, even after that, it kept happening with different people all the time. That so obviously it kept reinforcing this idea that this is not what I've been told since I was a kid, about what is life, society. It's not. It's life is something more than that. And obviously other some mystical experiences, like already spoke and wrote other times, like dreams becoming true, voices, speaking to me in deep meditations. The episode I spoke in the past about those lights coming from my hands in one night in London, a few months just after arriving. So, and then so many other episodes that you can't go through life in the same way. You can't not just accepting life rules in the same way. And obviously you can't not care about life in the same way as you used to. So is a life an illusion? It is in my journey. So in my life journey, life, it is an illusion, it is not real. Now, why is like this? Like I say many times, based on people I met that had near-death experiences, and obviously based on countless stories I read. We are here to learn, to grow spiritually, and to learn about love. Why we have to, nobody knows. Even people that claim to have a near-death experiences, to have gained in their state all the knowledge about why hurt exists, why our human body, why we as a humans exist. It's like it's to learn. They even them, like even in that state, they all they know is that we have to. We don't know why, but we have to. Like they say they only know that they have to evolve. They must evolve. They just accept that. So after all I experience, life is an illusion in my journey, and I did experience what is called creations. So I did see things happening in my life that was started by a thought and then amplified by the emotions and feelings attached to it. So I do know that in this journey, in my journey, even if all that what surrounds me seems so real, solid, and like the table, but it's if it is kind of like evident to me that we've been made to feel and believe in this way, from something bigger than us. I strongly feel there's obviously something or someone in charge, and we basically don't like. Some says that we have a choice. We decide all that happening, the parents, the city, the environment, and this that again we do that for us to learn and grow spiritually, to learn about love, understand the understanding of love. So I don't know that I didn't go through that same journey, but you know, again, after like experience, you know, like this meditation, the connection with some higher entity, higher frequency, after, you know, experiencing synchronicities, you know, like things that you can't, you know, like you can't see it as a real base, you know, real as real as we've been taught, you know, in our earthly society. And after, you know, being seeing, you know, all the things I saw, you know, like, as I said, those lights coming from my hands, those dreams that showing up then in my life. You know, you can't, you won't see life. You won't see life as you know you did in the past. And so that's the reason, you know, why I'm talking about it, why I'm speaking about it, because especially now, for what's going on, you know, people needs to understand that they are more than just meat, just body, and somehow it's liberating once you realize that who I am is not what I thought to be. It's liberating, and I feel like even the understanding, like of the temporality of this existence we call life, is so liberating, and it makes you want to really enjoy everything and every single moment as best as you can, and living the path that's been led ahead of you by a broken society made by people that, again, some really believes that life it is what it is, what is being taught, so they teach the same value. Some other people, they know that this is an illusion, but they choose a more, I would say, evil journey. So they know how to manipulate this illusion, but they choose to do it to their own gain. And then you have people that they know that this is just a temporary illusion, and they want to use this knowledge to actually help improving other people's lives. That I think is a bit what I'm doing with those videos, you know, like sharing those informations and writing about it, talking about it, because more people can, I'm gonna say, again, you don't have to believe me, but just start questioning. It will opening up for sure a new life. Hard at the beginning, but we get better and better, because what's going on right now can be changed. But it can be changed. What's happening in our society right now can be changed, can be stopped and changed only if we start to understand that life might be completely different than what we be made to believe until now. It's like if we start to realize that, okay, we are in 3D, but we start to questioning that maybe we are in the 5D, then things, the questioning, you will become more reluctant, like you will become more hesitant to fall and listen blindly what our leaders tells us or corporation tells, because our leaders comes nothing. Our leaders, what we call leaders, they are not leaders, are employee of big corporations. So they are paid workers to do what actually the people that are actually really in charge wants. So if we start to understand that what we thought was reality is actually, might be actually not, you will start to think twice before listening and obey to some random employee in charge of countries. Is a life an illusion? In my journey it is. Start to ask questions. Have a good day and talk to you soon.